It's the rule of nerds.
And this is our non-spoiler reaction to Star Wars The Last Jedi.
Here we go.
All right, so here we go. We will be having two videos for Star Wars The Last Jedi just because we love it so much.
It's Star Wars.
I mean, it's Star Wars. We are the rule of nerds, and how can we have just one video? So this is the non-spoiler review. This is more like a reaction, initial reaction, and then maybe when more people have watched it. Of course, fans already have watched it probably by now, but just in case, we will get into a more detailed discussion with that one.
That's where we really get to nerd out about all the specific details we want to talk about that we can't share with you right now. Let's at least wait until after the weekend to give everyone a chance to watch the movie.
But we needed to tell you more or less what we thought of the movie without getting into the details, without getting into any plot points. So watch with abandon. Don't worry, we will not reveal anything that will cause you to say spoilers. So again, it's non-spoiler reaction video. Okay, so what did we think about Star Wars The Last Jedi?
Okay, for me, I think we have to start off with a comparison to Force Awakens. I was having this conversation with a friend of mine a couple of days ago, where he was saying that he didn't like Force Awakens that much.
Okay.
Because it was, the usual criticism, a rehash of Episode 4.
It's basically A New Hope.
Yeah. So I was countering that with, I was saying it was at least an intentional thing, that with Episode 7 having to be a sequel to essentially the most beloved franchise. From 30 years ago. Is that right? 40 years ago?
Yeah, the 70s.
It had so much to have to live up to as a sequel that no original story they could have done would have lived up to that hype. So instead what they did was a very loving homage to the original movie. And some people see that as a rehash. But I would say that wasn't for a lack of creativity. That was very intentional on their part. And what it was seeking to do was not be an ambitious movie in itself, but really to reintroduce all of the fans into this universe.
That's true. I think for those who were already fans of the first 6 movies, you don't need to sell The Force Awakens or this specific trilogy, the third trilogy. But I think the main point of The Force Awakens was to let the older fans pull the newer fans into it. So there's the hype of the old characters making cameos, but it's also to get the newer fans interested. So for the kids who are, who didn't see the first 6 movies, this would be the perfect introduction. I wouldn't even say reintroduction because it's an introduction. And maybe their parents forced them to watch the first 6 movies. So it's the perfect way because it was a very long wait between the first 2 trilogies and the third one. So it's the perfect introduction to this universe. Now everyone was opining or guessing or hypothesizing that this next movie, The Last Jedi, would be the one that's really going to tell the story or a story. And true enough, it did. We won't get into what the story is. But the point is, it definitely delivered. It was not a rehash of anything that happened before. Yes, there were characters. Yes, there were cameos that you would be expecting, as the connecting thread between this one and the earlier entries. But it was telling its own story.
I think this one was a very ambitious movie.
Very ambitious.
In terms of what it was trying to say about the franchise and about, the real world in general, that you can expect some commentary, as Star Wars is known to do. So it forces you to re-examine a lot of what you like concepts that you already know from the franchise.
What I loved about it is that there was a lot happening, and for people who were so into this series, I would say it would take a lot for you to pull the rug from under our feet, to surprise us with something new. And I was just shocked that it gave you like, punch after punch after punch, things that you did not expect. It was surprising the viewers, even people who like knew everything about, every detail of this universe. They came up with something that, literally made people in the cinema scream. Not scream because they were that they got surprised or there was a loud explosion. No, scream because they're like, I can't believe I'm seeing this on screen. That kind of scream. And for me, for this series to still be able to do that on its eighth installment, not counting Rogue One, but for its eighth installment, to be able to take us for this kind of ride, I was literally out of breath after the movie. And it's a common comment that I got from people who watched, fans and non-fans alike, even for people who've watched a Star Wars movie for the first time. Their comment was they were exhausted, not in a bad way, but in a good way. Like it was like riding the best roller coaster ride you have ever ridden. And you were exhilarated and now you were exhausted because it's over. It was amazing.
And visually, this was
stunning,
so beautifully shot. This may have been the best ever in terms of visual, aesthetically. This may have been the best Star Wars movie, period.
Let me put it this way. Let's go back to the first Star Wars movie, A New Hope. You know those early scenes with Luke Skywalker in Tatooine and the sunset. There weren't a lot of those. Let me put it this way. If you loved that scene, there were a lot of those in this one. That sort of modern cinema, you going, that is a great shot. That is a beautiful shot. In terms of photography, this just blew me away. Absolutely amazing. Blew me away. And okay, so let's jump into, without getting into the plot points, the main thing that I took away from this is that, I can liken this to puppies being weaned from their mothers. We are so in love with the old Star Wars. And the biggest question was, will the filmmakers now of this new trilogy, will they be able to create a new batch of characters that we will care about as much as we cared about Luke and Leia and Han and C-3PO and Chewbacca and R2-D2. And for me, we are so on the right path. I mean, I am one of those people who are like, I don't know. I'm getting, separation anxiety. I don't want to let go of those characters. No spoiler here from The Force Awakens with the death of Han Solo. It was like, no, stop killing off the original characters. Keep them there. Otherwise, I don't want to watch this thing. But you know what? I feel like this is like a relay. And the baton has been passed. And I am like, you know what? I think I'm ready to let go of my old favorites. I don't love them any less. But I think I'm willing to take the hand of this new generation of Star Wars characters and see where they will take me. I mean, the willingness is now there. I'm willing to move on from the first 6 movies. And I'm like, let's do it. Let's create a new Star Wars universe.
That's really a credit to the actors who are playing these new roles. It is not easy to have to be the next batch to the legends of the universe,
especially the older fans.
To the Luke Skywalker,
to court them and say, care about me the way you cared about Luke and Leia and Han.
But I think that actors like Daisy Ridley and John Boyega and Oscar Isaac, they've been putting in some really great performances, not just in the Star Wars movies, but in general. You can see how talented this new batch. I forgot to say Adam Driver, but you have to throw him in.
My God. Well. Okay. Can we get his Adam Driver? Okay. So I know a lot of people really gave it to him, after the first movie. How it's like, oh, this is whiny Vader. Yeah. This is not Darth Vader. Yeah. This is whiny Vader. He's a lame Vader. He's the one who's a wuss who was beaten by somebody who handled a lightsaber for the first time.
Yeah.
But you know what? Everything that was shown to us, as far as the new characters are concerned, was just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
Suffice it to say, in our opinion at least, this movie was able to flesh out those characters more.
Yes.
And if you had quibbles about the characters from Force Awakens, at least as far as we're concerned, they really, really delivered. And like I said, now you're not just worried about, okay, what's going to happen to Luke, Leia, and Han. Yeah. Now you're like, what's going to happen to Rey? What's going to happen to, Finn? What's going to happen to Poe? What's going to happen to Kylo or Ben? Yeah. So you care about the characters. You are starting to invest in these new characters, which is great for the franchise. And in the end, great for the fans.
Yeah.
Because now we have something that we can really stand behind.
Yeah.
And say, and remember, this is the same problem that is about to plague the MCU.
Yeah.
After we peak with the Infinity movies, the thing is, these guys are getting old.
Yes.
Will they be able to come up with new heroes, with new characters that we will care about as much as we did with RDJ, the Chris's, but with this one, they are on the right track.
Yeah.
We are caring about these new characters. We are caring about this new universe that they created.
Yeah.
And for me, I understand, the criticisms with Force Awakens, but if you ask me, in my humble opinion, they're like 3 out of 3. Hit it out of the park. I loved The Force Awakens. I love Rogue One, and I love The Last Jedi.
Yeah,
I mean, it was exciting. It was exhilarating. The battles that we were expecting, for me, exceeded my expectations, which is not to say it lightly, because I have high expectations. Yeah. The bar is set really, really high. So for me to say that not only was it met, it was actually exceeded. It's saying a lot about the movie. There were battles in space, battles. We won't get into details. Don't worry. Battles on the ground. But as in literally, like I would be, clutching my chest while these scenes were unfolding.
Yes.
It was that exciting.
And I think another great thing about these battles that we're talking about, a lot of movies suffer from where you don't really believe when characters are in danger.
Yeah.
I think that Star Wars, maybe it's because of The Force Awakens where they got rid of a character as iconic as Han Solo.
Yeah.
But I actually believed every time that any of these characters were in danger, that like no one is safe. I really felt that. So the tension during, like you said, whenever there's battles or danger are there, you're really at the edge of your seat. It's great. It is great for the story, and it ends. We're not gonna say give away anything about how it ends. But what I'm gonna say is that the ending made me so excited to see what's coming ahead.
Yes. Okay. Here's just another thing. You know how like everyone is so excited about comparing it, like is it like The Empire Strikes Back of this trilogy? We were not going to compare apples with oranges, but it definitely did the same role as The Empire Strikes Back, because like Star Wars, A New Hope, was an introduction to the universe, and then all the plot twists happened with The Empire Strikes Back, and this is what happened here. And all I'm going to say is that I loved every minute of it, and I have to say this. I must say it started out strong. And then, yes, I agree. I've read other reviews, and they brought some points where some reviewers were saying it was kind of slow at some points. I have to agree, because it entered my mind around the middle of the movie. I was like, I'm you know how like sometimes you're taken away from the experience and you remember that you're watching a movie. It happened to me a couple of times, and I was like, this is moving a little slow.
Yeah.
But I promise you, there is the reason the ending worked so well was because they also took their time to lay out you know the work, the groundwork. You know how like a lot of people are saying, you know, it's not just like, I'm sorry to make the comparison, but let's say if it's a Transformers movie, it's like one explosion after another, explosion after another, and you know by the end you're tired, and in a bad way. With this one, the payback at the end, when the really like, because it really picks up towards the end. That much we'll say. It was because they took their time in the middle. So it will make sense why they took their time.
They had to earn the payoff.
They
basically.
really earned it.
And that's what they did. They took the time just so the payoff would be earned. And you know, you gotta give it to them for going through all of that. You know, they must have known that even if their parts are gonna go slow and they're probably gonna get some flack for it. You know, it made the ending way better. So it was worth it.
It's like
it's worth the 2 hours and 40 minutes that the running time is.
You know, if they made it all excitement, all battles, all throughout, the ending probably wouldn't have the same impact as it did. But because they took some time to create characters. That's what that's what's missing from so many movies nowadays, especially, you know, the superhero space, you know, kind of movies. There are no characters. It's all about big battles with aliens, and this is what I love about this. It's always action set pieces. This is what I love with this movie. They made sure that the characters were alive. They were not characters. They were people you cared for. They were friends. They were compatriots. You root for them. And you know, like I watched with somebody who is not a fan at all, is not familiar with a character, who would probably be asking, who's that, to like Princess Leia and Luke Skywalker. But by the end, the guy was in tears.
Oh wow.
That's how well it worked. Even for people who did not know about these characters, cared for these characters. So that is a huge you know, like kudos to the filmmakers for being able to do that.
That's really interesting for me, because I thought coming out of that movie that, unlike Force Awakens, where it was a great introduction to a newer fan, I thought that The Last Jedi is the kind of movie where you would appreciate it way more if you had that history with the franchise. If you know all of the lore and all of the you know all of the concepts inside there, and you have such love and understanding for everything about this world they created.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that you would probably have like a 100 if you had the background. But if you didn't have the background, you would have a solid 80. You know what I mean?
Not bad.
But that's how great it is. It's great for fans. It's great for people who are just starting to get into the universe. And I must say, everybody delivered. The actors, the special effects. You know, can we just say that, you know, suddenly it is highlighted with let's say the CGI. You know, it's not a spoiler to say that there are CGI characters here, but to compare the CGI in this movie with, let's say, Steppenwolf in Justice League, it just highlights how you can do CGI right, and how to do CGI not so right. But you know, that's what I mean. I mean, like when you see this, you're like, wow, you know, this is, you know, it's CGI. Don't get me wrong. You still know it's CGI, but it's CGI done right. And everything, special effects, the photography, the script, the characters, the acting, the direction,
everything.
The music.
The music.
The music. Gorgeous. So, in general, you're probably thinking that was the non-detailed version. Yes, because we're not talking about specific scenes. We're not talking about specific plot points. But we will come out with a video where maybe later on, when most people probably would have watched it, so that we can do a more detailed discussion on Star Wars, The Last Jedi.
And also, we hate it when people spoil things for us. So we're doing everyone else the favor give you some time to watch it.
All right, so that's our reaction video to Star Wars, The Last Jedi. Tell us what you think. For those who have seen the movie, what did you think? What was your reaction? Did you love it? Did you like it? More or less than the earlier
But just as far as that, because we don't want anyone spoiling in the comment section either.
Yes, and if you have some spoilery comments, maybe you can also comment that on our other video.
You can wait a couple of days for the spoiler video.
We will definitely come out with that. So, but tell us all about it in the comments, and we would appreciate it if you give us a like. And also a follow, a subscribe. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's The Rule of Nerds. And also check out our social media accounts. It's The Rule of Nerds on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
And as for our personal accounts?
Yeah, you can check out at Chico Garcia on Instagram and Twitter. And my Facebook is at Chico Garcia. RX931.
We never remember what that is.
Apparently I've been giving the wrong...
it's a different Chico Garcia.
But anyway...
follow the one. We're just going to post a graphic somewhere there so you know. And you can follow me at M_Bolante on Twitter. It's JM_Bolante on Instagram. And Nerds app.
Here we go.